Hi, Dr. Mark here for Natural Health. Hope you're having a great day. It's time for our health shop, and this is our monthly one now. So we're having the live health shops on the fourth Monday of the month. This month we're talking about spring allergies, and we look at things, allergies a little bit here, in that it's not the named problem, but what's behind it. That's what we do at Natural Health, really, is look at what the underlying cause of these problems are. I've been doing it going on 42 years, and so having a lot of fun and success doing this over time. Learned a lot with the people over time, and got a lot of experience with the finding of the underlying cause. Now, spring allergies are a condition that looks good on the diagnosis form of the insurance company, but what we really care about is why is that there? What's going on behind the scenes that allows that to happen? That's what we're going to talk about, or I'm going to talk about here tonight. So as we get into good foods, we're always talking about good foods, and the interesting thing is, I help patients this a lot, is that we've just come out of the main holiday seasons. We started with Halloween, we had Thanksgiving, we had Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, and now finally Easter. So we're finally done with all those. Now, and I'm sure you will realize that when you have these holidays, our society is so geared into eating junk and sugary stuff, and I mean, even like with Easter, we had to have chocolate Easter eggs and Easter bunnies and all jelly beans and all that kind of stuff, which just pulls the immune system down. What the body has to deal with refined sugars that are taken out of food context. There's no minerals or vitamins. The body has to pull that out of the immune system to digest and utilize the sugar. So that's why people have a lot of problem after holidays, and that goes into a whole nother talk about flu season and all that business. But anyway, we'll get into this a little bit more. Again, also at the end of the wintertime, we're pretty low on vitamin D. We haven't been out in the sunshine at all, and we need to get vitamin D and get vitamin D activated. So we have the signs of deficiencies here. You can look through. There's muscle weakness and all kind of problems. All kind of rickets, even all kind of some of the old words. The big one is the immune system is a problem, and then signs of it, and causes of deficiency. I mean, problems with not getting enough the right sources of foods, that kind of thing, and then metabolism, not being able to digest and absorb that. And so the oils are digested and absorbed by the liver. So it's important to realize that as we get into this discussion a little bit farther. It's required for the absorption of calcium. So that's another important thing. Needed for healthy thyroid function. Helps prevent depression and anxiety. Essential for neuromuscular function. So vitamin D is really important. And again, at the end of the year, we're starting to have problems with that. We kind of run out of it from the summer and late fall exposure to sunlight. And then if we haven't eaten well over the wintertime, we have a lot of problems. Again, that's what kind of drives the issues with these colds and flus and things that are going on. So as we get into the springtime, not only do we not have sunshine that helps to activate the D3 that goes into the liver, that body makes into actually usable vitamin D, but livers are usually congested too, because we haven't been very active over the wintertime, stuck in the house because of all the cold, and not been hot. We've not been hot. We haven't sweated a whole lot, unless you have your own sauna and thing, which are of course a good idea to have over the wintertime. So the liver usually is congested. It's full of stuff, byproducts, enzyme, byproducts of digestion and enzyme function and different things needs to get cleaned out. So as we get into springtime, then that's where a lot of people have the body the liver's overloaded, and so then you have this gunk coming back out of the sinuses. The sinuses are an overload for the liver. So if the liver gets congested, the lymphatics are full, they back up, and then you have all this drainage and all this stuff. And so that, as we get into breathing in pollens and dust and molds in the spring, then we have a lot of reactions, and this has been termed spring allergies. So again, the liver has to be in good shape, the kidneys have to function correctly, we have to have exposure to sunlight, and so I think the next one here looks at the vitamin D synthesis in February. We're unlikely in Illinois to have much vitamin D synthesis, and so I think people a lot of times when they go to Florida in the wintertime feel quite a bit better. And people that have been in Florida don't have all the colds and spring allergies because they're producing vitamin D more often. They're sweating, they're working out, things like that. So it's all tied together with that. Let's see, the next slide here looks at the intestinal mucosa, and again, how that is, if it's not working right, if you lose the tight junctions, we'll have leaky gut, we'll have all this gunk in lymphatics. And we're getting a lot of food allergies even from this too, which sets off the histamine response, and that's what looks like a lot of the allergy symptoms, but it's got to do more with the gut than it is from breathing all this stuff. The lymphatics are full. We have to get all that gunk cleaned out and get out in the sunshine. Get sweating, get working out, doing different things like that. So that is what we look at as the underlying reason. These colds and things, the immune system is not functioning very well, again, because of the lack of the vitamin D, and then you're not getting over colds. A lot of these things are colds that are still there, and you may notice in years past that you start having spring allergies, and then you kind of get out in the sun a lot, you're coughing and sneezing and all that, and then pretty soon out in the sun a lot, and pretty soon it's all gone. Even if you don't do anything about it, you may use over-the-counter things for symptom relief, but it's a matter of, over time, the spring allergies, it must be not spring anymore because we don't have any spring allergies. Well, it's because you're getting the vitamin D working, you're getting the liver to clean out, you're getting the gut to work correctly, you're getting it to clean out, so everything is working better, and the body normally just gets rid of all that stuff, gets rid of all that gunk. Let's see. The bucket explanation for allergy, I talked this a lot about with our patients here, that the body can handle a bucket's worth of snot and mucus in the lymphatics, but it's when that bucket is full, as it is a lot of times by the end of the wintertime, again, because of the bad foods and things we've had, and because of the lack of vitamin D, and the lack of being warm and working out, getting outside sweating, liver's already full, lymphatics are already full, so that as soon as you get into any kind of pollen, dust, or mold, well then you develop all these histamine responses, all this drainage and watery eyes and all that. And again, that's just the liver overloaded and needs to get cleaned out. And so that's what we do here at Natural Health, is get that liver to clean out, get the gut to work correctly, so then the lymphatics drain out through the liver like they're supposed to, and not backing up so you're blowing your nose all the time and doing all that kind of business. So again, looking at more underlying causes of it, rather than just getting Zyrtec or some of these medications to help work on the symptoms. Because again, actually, those things, being a medication or a chemical, actually make the cause or the reason worse. You're actually making the liver have to deal with that then. So we want to get to the underlying cause, and again, that's some of the things we talked about there, and hopefully that's good information for you. And again, if you have any questions about that, you can always give us a call here at Natural Health. We do have free consultations available for people that kind of want to know what we're doing here. On our website, we have a lot of videos that look at what we're doing. So it's a different kind of office. We're not doing medical procedures, we're doing natural health procedures. We're doing alternative health things, looking at what is actually health and not just working on symptom relief. Not that that's not all bad, but to realize that if you don't get the underlying cause under control, then you can have other problems down the line because you're not fixing what the body needs help with. So that gives you a pretty good idea of what we do here at Natural Health with spring allergies. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. And again, if you have any questions, you always give us a call there and answer questions. And I think that's a good explanation for me, enough for me. I'm going to let Dr. Chip take over and explain things a little bit differently, but in the same light. So have a good evening. We'll see you again next month. I guess I won't be here for that because I have a little thing to go do. But we'll be here. I'll be here on the first and third Mondays, our patient education workshops here in the office. So have a great month, and then Dr. Chip can take over, and we'll see you later.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so yeah, hey everybody, welcome back to our health shop. Again, this is April, this is for spring allergies. And again, we're going to talk a little bit more about how we take more of a, you could say, a holistic approach, or really just helping your body to be more healthy, so that when that time comes, when these so-called things happen, we want to make sure that our immune system is able to overcome or combat it properly. So again, my name is Dr. Chip, and we'll get to it. So again, just taking more of the approach of the chiropractic side, or the nervous systems, but really we're talking about balance. We're talking about making sure that our body is more adaptable to these different, you'd say, changes in the seasons, but all these different, you'd say, illnesses or diseases. And so again, many times we think about these allergies are something that everyone gets, but in reality, not everybody gets these. Why is that? It can't be that it's the same bug or same thing out there that's causing these things. It has to come from what is going on with the body and how that body is able to adapt to things. And like Dr. Mark explained, when something gets all backed up, when our bodies are kind of at that threshold, then it's not able to function properly. So again, with the nervous systems, we're going to talk a little bit here. Central nervous system is your brain and your spinal cord. Again, kind of this little big organ at the top. And then the spinal cord, again, as the spine is actually encasing it, protecting it. And you would say is that those are very important areas because there's so much bone that's covering these things. So again, when you ever have nerve damage or anything like that, again, it's very hard to heal, or it can be hard to heal from those things. Peripheral, again, is the voluntary and the autonomic, involuntary. So again, it's kind of more of the things that are outside of those different, you'd say, not the skull, not the spine, but on the outside. And we're going to talk a little bit more too about the voluntary, which again, voluntary is more of being able to control those things. And then autonomic or involuntary are the things that happen all the time without you being aware of them most of the time, most of the day. And so when it comes to our nervous system, why it's important is because communication is vital for our body and brain to connect properly, to be more in harmony with each other, so that our brain can actually send the correct signals to our body so that it can not only heal properly and feel good, but function well. So you can see here too is that the gut, again, we kind of talk about the gut or the stomach or the enteric nervous system, but it's kind of more of neurons that are in our gut. And so why that's of course important there too is that the gut is more helping ourselves to have a better immune system. So you can see here, increased nervous system stress caused decreased nerve and blood flow to the gut and the immune system. So again, when our nervous system is not able to adapt, it's getting overwhelmed or overloaded, that's when it actually is not sending the proper signals, or we're actually in a state of chronic stress, which again, that's going to tax the immune system in the gut. And so that leads to these allergic responses there too, or again, allergic responses, but again, that's why, because our body is not able to handle anymore, and so we're hitting that threshold again. So again, more vulnerable to gut and immune-related issues, chronic illness, and acute infection. So again, that's why we want to make sure is that a lot of times we think that these chronic illnesses, such as like allergies and all that, are just something that everybody has. But really, when you really get down to the core and the cause of things, you realize is that it's not coming from the outside so much, but what is actually happening is the health of our own body and brain. Again, the nervous system here. And so again, here we go. Yep. So again, you can kind of see here this is kind of more of your gut, your stomach, your colon, your small and large intestines, all that. But you can see is that there's these little guys here. That's kind of more of the bacteria or the microbiota. That's kind of like, our body is made up of a lot of different, you'd say, bugs, which is like viruses, bacteria, fungus, all that. But in a balanced state, that's healthy. That's actually, these bacteria are helping to digest and break down a lot of our foods, and that actually helps us to maintain a good, healthy immune system and everything there too. However, when we get off, when the nervous system is actually unbalanced or the brain and body become disconnected at some level that's not communicating properly, then we can have some issues. And so that's why the nervous system or the immune system and the gut are kind of interconnected there too. Of course, too, is that our brain and body, everything is connected quite a bit there. So we want to make sure that we're able to give ourselves the vital resources for ourselves to heal properly. And so, again, you can kind of see here too, there's a little diagram. The central nervous system is kind of like the conductor. And so when, again, we're not able to send the correct signals to the rest of the body via the brain, then it's not able to work properly. And so, again, we can do a lot of different things that may stress it, but it really comes down to how our body is able to adapt to it. So just like a beginner in the weight room is not going to put on massive amounts of weight because that can be too much stress on our muscles, that actually would lead to detrimental issues such as like an injury. So just like that, the nervous system is kind of like that muscle there too. Is that over time, if we're able to overcome and adapt to these things, our nervous system is actually able to adapt to stronger or more and more stress there. But when we're not able to do that, when we're not balanced out correctly, then that stress can be overwhelming and actually can impact the nervous system negatively, and that can lead to increased energy, which again would lead to issues with the immune system, then causing like allergy symptoms. And so we're going to go kind of coming back here too. So the autonomic nervous system, like we said, is the system that is controls your involuntary activities, processes. So you can see here is digestion. Again, we don't try to digest things better. We have to allow that process to happen by itself. So that's kind of more controlled by the autonomic nervous system. Your breathing, again, that's kind of the one thing that can be controlled voluntarily, but we don't do it most of the time with our conscious thoughts. Immunity, again, is kind of course, the immune system, heart rate, and then sensory organs. And so, again, that's very important because the sensory organs is kind of more of comes back to the nervous system, and that's kind of more of our sight, smell, hearing, tasting, and touching. And so, again, when our nervous system is not able to adapt, or it can be actually reading the environment improperly, that is actually causing an imbalance within our body, which again leads to health issues. And so when this is working properly, when our brain and body are balanced out really well, then again we get back our vital energy, and we're able to carry out, our body's able to carry out the right functions that it should be, so that again, even with the changes in the seasons and the weather and all that, our body still maintains a good, healthy state. So you can see a little bit too, this is kind of the two different nervous systems. I just want to show this diagram just to kind of see that our brains and our bodies are so just amazing at what they can do, and they're so interconnected to where you can see all the organs and everything, but the nerves that flow to the organs, again, is going to help those systems to work properly too. Now, again, our body and our brain, they heal in many different ways, so it's important that whatever you need to do, you want to balance that body correctly. And then again, that could be the nutritional support, the chiropractic care, different modalities. It doesn't matter. It's just you want to be able to work with a system that gets what needs to balance out everything. And so again, you can see that this is pretty amazing at what all goes on there too. All the systems there. So again, autonomic nervous system. The inability to adapt to stress causes the autonomic nervous system to go from balance to unbalance, leading to dis-ease. So what does that? It's the trauma, the toxins, and the thoughts. So those are just different ways that we can actually decrease our energy to a point where, like we said, we start to notice signs, symptoms, pain, all that. So again, there's something going on there that we need to get reset and balance out so that, again, we maintain that healthy state. Like we said, just a little bit there, unbalanced body. But again, these are stresses in our environment, or stresses that we kind of go through that we have to. I mean, it's stress there. So again, it's not more that the stress is a bad thing. It's that it's our ability to adapt and respond to it properly. And so again, if we do what we need to, you say drinking clean water. Actually, I think we have so if we're moving our bodies well, we're drinking clean water, eating good foods, we're thinking correctly, all that too, we're able to have good health there too. So just a analogy here too with the autonomic nervous system is that just like a car, you can say like a car is like our body. What we need to run that car efficiently is energy, or our brain, or your nervous system, because the nervous system is actually communicating that energy properly or in the correct manner. And so when we have say no electric to the car, then you can put all the gas you want in it, but it's not going to run because again you need that you need the battery, or you need the electrical impulses or the energy to actually help ignite or start the car and then run it properly. And so again, like you said, good exercise and everything, walking, a very underrated exercise there that helps maintain good balance of our brain and body. Hydration, again, like you said, good thinking, again, but you could say like meditation, all that, just again helping to direct our minds in a good focused manner. And then two, we want to make sure that we're able to balance out our brain properly. So it's good to have logic, and it's good to be creative. When we are able to balance these out properly, that's when we actually help the body to maintain a good, healthy state. And so again, this is logic way. The logic way, or two, is your planning, your business, and all that too. But you can even take that creative side into that area. You just have to be able to do that efficiently. And so this isn't much more of the thinking. That's more of the play side. This is more of your thinking, your plan, all that too. So we want to make sure those are balanced too. I think that is actually it here tonight. But again, you can join us, or you can see the different channels here at Natural Health Quincy IL. We're on Facebook, YouTube, I think Rumble, Brighteon, and Instagram. And then again, you can subscribe to our email list at naturalhealthquincy.com. And then, of course, we're located at 2000 Jefferson Street, Quincy, Illinois. Our number is 217-228-2040. So again, we're having these health shops just once every month here, kind of at the end of the month. So it'll be the fourth week of the month, and it's going to be on the Mondays. So again, we just want to get this information out to you because we know that a lot of people may be suffering from different issues, health-related issues, that they might not know how to really go about it. And so again, at Natural Health, we have a different approach here to help you get back to that healthy state. So again, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of the week and a great rest of the month, and actually we'll see you next time. Thanks.